Hello, Reading Group 3. Let's look at the words to watch for. Noticed, commandment, disciples, advisor. An advisor is a person who gives advice. Which is which? An old Swedish tale. Now, I want you to pay attention to where paragraphs begin. See, there's a space here, and that space means it's indented, which means it's a new paragraph. So, where is the next paragraph indented? Can you find the next space? There's a space after a period, and then there's a space before the next sentence begins. Do you see this space here? And then do you see the space here? This is indented. This is the next paragraph. So, let me go ahead and read the first paragraph. The Queen's ship was nearly home when the storm came upon it. Waves rose like mountains, and the lifeboats overturned as soon as they were put in water. And now do you see this is where the next paragraph begins. Seeing that the ship would surely be lost, the Queen tried to save her 1-year-old son. She took a box strong enough to keep out water, but light enough to ride on the waves. Into this she put her little son. Now, if you notice, there's not a lot of space here, but there's space here. And that shows that this is the next paragraph. Where does this paragraph end? It ends not at this period, because see, the sentence keeps going. There's another sentence. Let's look. Does it end at this period? Yes. Do you see there's not another sentence beginning here? And there's a little space here. So this is the next paragraph. Now it happened that the Queen's cook had a 1-year-old baby boy too. He was put in the box with the little prince in hope that he too might be saved. Just as the box was lowered to the water, the ship began to go down. Soon there was nothing left of the ship but some sticks of wood and pieces of torn sail. Do you see how there's space here? They didn't start the next sentence here. Why didn't they start the next sentence here? Because they're starting a new paragraph. Do you see? There's still space here too. The next day, an old fisherman found the box and took the babies home to his wife. Why is all there space here? Because they're starting a new paragraph. See, it's indented. The babies were named Anders and Eric, and as the years went by, they grew into fine, strong boys. Now, are we going to start a new paragraph when we go to the next page? Yes. How do you know you're going to start a new paragraph when you get to the next page? Because the next sentence isn't right here. The next sentence is going to be indented. Look and see the indentation when we come to the next page. See how it's indented? Where does the next paragraph begin? After this paragraph. It begins here. See, there's another indentation. And then where does the next paragraph begin? It begins here. See, there's an indentation. And that's the next paragraph. And where does the next paragraph begin? Do you see this space here? And this space? This is the next paragraph. And where does the next paragraph begin? See this space? This is the next paragraph. And then the next paragraph. There's no space after this period, but there is space here. And every time there's space at the beginning, that means it's a new paragraph. So I want to count how many paragraphs are on this page. Starting here. This is the first paragraph. This is the second paragraph. This is the third paragraph. This is the fourth paragraph. This is the fifth paragraph. This is the sixth paragraph. And there's only 6 paragraphs because there's no more indentations. But you can see that there's a lot of space here. So you know that on the next page, they're going to start a new paragraph. Because if they weren't going to start a new paragraph, there'd be a sentence here. So before I read these paragraphs to you, I want you to look at this word here. If I say finish, what is wrong with what I said? I didn't add the suffix. So what should the word be? Finished. Finished. When the king's man finished his story. All right, look down here. The most common mistake with this word is people will a lot of times say cloths. But there's an E here and there's an O here. And so the O is long and the E is silent. So this isn't cloths. What is this word? Clothes. Clothes. The O is long. And then here, somebody might say this word is bowed. But if we look at the sentence, then he took off his hat and bowed before the 2 boys. Does that make sense that he bowed before the boys? So the OW could say a different special sound. What other special sound could the OW say? It could say ow, bowed. Does that make sense? He bowed before the 2 boys? Yes, that makes much more sense. All right, so follow along as I read these 6 paragraphs. One day a man came to the fisherman and his wife and told a strange story. New paragraph. It seemed that one man had been saved years before when the queen's ship went down, but the boat that picked him up had sailed far away. He had only now come home and told what had happened. New paragraph. The king was overjoyed to learn that his son might still be living. He was sending men everywhere to try to find the prince. New paragraph. When the king's man finished his story, the fisherman brought out the box in which he had found the baby's ears before. New paragraph. The fisherman told how he had found the box on the water after the great storm. New paragraph. The king's man looked at the box and the baby clothes inside it. Then he took off his hat and bowed before the 2 boys. One of you is the prince of our country, he said. Fishermen will tell you. Will you tell me which is which? Fisherman, will you tell me which is which? So he wants to know which one is the prince of their country. Let's look at the next page. And now we know that this page starts with a new paragraph. So let's go ahead and count all the paragraphs on this page. Go ahead and count the paragraphs and let me know how many paragraphs you believe are on this entire page. How many did you think it was? Let's count the indentations. Here's an indentation, number 1. Here's an indentation, number 2. Here's an indentation. This is the 3rd paragraph. Here's an indentation. Here's the 4th paragraph. Here's an indentation. Here's the 5th paragraph. And here's an indentation. Here's the 6th paragraph. So there's 6 paragraphs on this page. So if I asked you to read the 3rd paragraph to me, which paragraph would you read? 1st, 2nd, 3rd. If I asked you to read the 1st paragraph, which paragraph would you read? 1st. If I asked you to read the last paragraph, which paragraph would you read? Here is the last indentation on the page. All right, so follow along as I read, and when I'm done with a paragraph, I want you to say, next paragraph. The fisherman and his wife looked in surprise from one boy to the other. Which is which? Said the fisherman. Now that is something we really do not know. Did you say new paragraph? See, here's a new paragraph. That was how it happened that the man came back, not with one boy, but with two. Did you say new paragraph? I hope you did, because there's a new paragraph. The king was pleased to know that one of these boys was his son, but of course he wanted to know which was which. New paragraph. The king asked his advisor to find out which boy was really the prince. New paragraph. The advisor thought about the problem for a long time. Then he called the boys before him and gave them each a coat. New paragraph. Wear these new coats every day for a week, he said. Wear them as a prince would. Then come back and I will know which of you should someday be king. Last paragraph. Later that day, the boys went out for a walk. As they walked along, Eric noticed a blind man starting to cross the street. At the same time, he heard a noise behind him, and he looked to see what it was. And we know this is the last paragraph on the page, and we know there's going to be a new paragraph on the next page. Because if there weren't going to be a new paragraph on the next page, there'd be another sentence starting here. But this is blank. But before we go to the next page, I want you to look at this word. You could separate this word after the first consonant before the second consonant. So between the D and the V. And you would say ad, vi, sir, advisor. And look, I did it here. I actually drew the lines in pencil so I can erase. Advisor, advisor. This isn't through. What is this word? Thought. See the T? Thought. All right, let's look at the next page. Let's look at the picture. Let's look at the next page, and it starts with a new paragraph. They don't always start new paragraphs on the next page. However, this one does because, see, it's indented. And then count how many paragraphs you see on this page. This page is a little tricky, but I want you to try. Try to count the paragraphs. All right, let me count them with you. First paragraph. Second paragraph. How do we know this is a new paragraph? Because it's indented. Third paragraph. Fourth paragraph. Do you see how that's indented? But look, this is indented too. So this paragraph was only one line. And then this one is indented again. So this is the next paragraph. So we have to start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 paragraphs on this page. Look at this word. This word would have a silent E, except we dropped the E and added ing. So if this had a silent E, this would be a long A and a silent E, and then add in the ing. So what is this word? Racing. Racing. All right, following along, and each time I come to a new paragraph, I want you to clap your hands. A runaway horse pulling at a big wagon was racing toward the blind man. I hope you clapped your hand. Anders saw the horse too. Afraid that his coat would be splashed with mud, he ducked into the nearest doorway. But as Anders ran back, Eric ran to the blind man and pulled him out of the way. The horse raced by, splashing mud all over Eric. "You saved my life," said the blind man. Eric looked down at his fine new coat, but it was no longer fine or new. The next day, Eric worked long and hard, cleaning the mud from his coat. As Anders watched, he thought, I will stay in my room for the rest of the week. I won't let anything happen to my coat. So the next day, Eric went out alone. He had not gone very far when he heard someone crying, Fire! Fire! Eric ran at once to help the people who were working to put out the fire. All right, look at the next page. Tell me how many paragraphs are on this page. Count them with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs. Let's count again and make sure we're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraphs. Go ahead and read the rest of the story and answer the questions at the end of the story. Bye-bye.